Hello. Today we're going to do the excitement that is lookups. We're going to do it in a simple way today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to use the insert function wizard. And then we're going to do task exercise 3 out of the spreadsheet of the Osborne Books website. I'm recording this in game mode, so as ever, I have to use a lot of sort of print screens quite often so that it doesn't switch itself off moving between applications. So in terms of where you're going to go first, it would be into the Osborne Book website, into the Products and Resources tab, which brings up Products and Resources. Go into the AAT Accounting AQ 2016, which is where the information will be. That will come up. Slide down to Spreadsheets for Accounting and double click there. And then when you've gotten to there, then you're going to go to the T4 inventory spreadsheet and open that up. When you open that up, it will produce these three worksheets here. The remainder is me printing some screens so that this video doesn't switch off. So it will open up like this. You won't have this here. I've just sort of put that in so that I can show you how we're going to create it. But what you're going to do then is you'll open up the spreadsheet and you won't have anything in there, and yours one will not have this row in here. Okay, so that's how yours should look when you open up that spreadsheet. Let me put those back in because I want to be able to demonstrate how we get to that situation. Okay, so open up your spreadsheet. And now when you've got that open, what you're going to do is you're going to insert a row between rows 2 and 3. This one row that I put in here. You're going to insert a row between rows 2 and 3. It'll be blank, obviously, and then what you're going to do is you're going to type product into here, into cell A3, so A3. You're going to type bin into C3 and price into E3. So there's going to be a gap here, a gap here, and a gap here. And they're product, bin, and price. If you just type those in for me, please. And that will be the first thing that you're going to do. And then what we're going to do, probably should have got that in by about now. So A3, C3, and E3 should be now complete. And what we're now going to do is we're going to now get in, you're going to put in FR4 into there, and what FR4 is a product code. So we've been provided with this, to give this what this task is then now, we've been provided with this sort of set of products that we've got sitting in our warehouse. And here we've got some numbers here in terms of the bin, and we've also got the price of these products. Okay, so that's what we've got in here. Show some kind of volumes and some kind of prices going on. And it'd be quite nice if instead of going and looking down this and sort of finding FR4, let's go and slide down and find FR4 and put in the 4 in here and put in the 7 in here. And we kept doing this every time we had to sort of look it up. The Excel would actually look it up for us and put that data in, and that's what a lookup is. Yeah, so it's going to, you can see almost the equation there, but I'm just going to show you how we're going to get this in easily. And we've got another equation here. Excel will go and find this stuff in this table for us and start dropping things in. Okay, so the way in which this works is you need to consider the table first. So it's going to be whatever's going to be on either the far left or the top. Okay, and if you've got something in there, then you can tell Excel find something in either that top bit or that far left bit and use a lookup. Now, if you're going to use the far left bit of the table, you're going to use a VLOOKUP, a vertical lookup going left to right. If you're going to use something let's say this was the other way around and it was code, bin, and price there, and all these product codes were all sitting along the top, and their bins and their prices were underneath, then we would be using a HLOOKUP to start at the top and go down. So a VLOOKUP, we look at the table, we're going to go left to right, and a HLOOKUP, we will look at the table and we go top to bottom. We can't use a HLOOKUP here because there's nothing really to go top to bottom from, in terms of there's nothing to catch hold of. But we have got this nice product code on the left hand side, which we can use here in this FR4 and say, find FR4 in here, go across and pull out the bin and the price. So that's how we're going to do that. Okay, so two options in here. And previously I've sort of shown how to just write this out, really. And this is the equation. I'm going to explain the equation now, and then I'll show you how to get it in quickly. So it's equals VLOOKUP. So we've said, we've got an equals, which is telling the Excel that we're going to use some form of function. Then we're going to put the instruction that we're going to do, which is going to be a VLOOKUP. and then open brackets. I think it's going to say find this thing, so find this product code in this table here. When you find it, go along 2 rows for the bin and provide me back an exact match. Okay, so that's the equation. I'm going to show you how this might just be a bit easier for you to do. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to go into the Formulas tab whilst you're in this cell D3, so into Formula tabs here, and hit this button. I can't hit this button because it'll switch the video off, but if you just hit that button there, and then it should give you this print screen up here. So it will have an insert function. So this is an insert function tab. It's what's known as the function wizard within Excel. Some people like it, especially when you're learning a new equation, to use this kind of thing, which gives you the sort of the options. And then over the fullness of time, you'll learn how to write it out yourself, which will be a little bit faster. But I'll show you the advantages of writing it out yourself as well later on. So you're going to have this, and it will have a sentence in here. So start to put in something like the function, so we can start to look at it. So there'll be a big sentence there. You're going to replace that, and you're going to put in VLOOKUP. You could have put in lookup or something else like that, or look or something like that, and it would have then started to give you some various options. So you would have a VLOOKUP that would appear, or a HLOOKUP. Type that in, press go, okay, and up will come then VLOOKUP in the options. Yeah, hit on that. So you highlight that's the one I'm going to use. I quite like that one. Thank you very much, Excel. And then press OK. And what that will do is it will start to put in a lookup function. So it'll start and put the opening bit, which will be equals VLOOKUP bracket, and it gives you this little table. Which, when I was explaining this equation, you were probably there thinking, "Oh, that's a lot of what was it? First bit again. First bit. What is it next?" And what actually we've got here then is this VLOOKUP equation broken down into its 4 constituent parts that you're going to then just complete and point. So the first thing is, what is it that you want to look up? Well, I want to look up this product number here, this FR4. So whenever you see one of these here, that means you're going to click on it. So you'll click on it, and then it'll thin down to a little box, and you'll go out and you'll just click on the the B3, and press enter, and that will then be in there. You'll then click on this again, the box will sort of go thinner again, and you'll drag your things. So you'll left click on A5 in this case, or I went A6 in this case. Keep your finger on the left click trigger, and drag out and drag down till you get to the end of it, so C51, and press enter, and then that will appear in there. Then you've got to think, well, right, okay, this bit now requires a bit of thought. So I've got this code in the left-hand column that I want. I've got this bin that I'm trying to find in the, this is what I want to return. So I want to go 1, 2 rows across. So this column index number, which is basically saying how many rows do you want to go across whenever I find this item. So 1, 2 I want to go across, and so 2 goes into there. The key thing is here, always remember that this first row, the lookup value, the thing that you're wanting to look up and find, always counts as the first row. So that's always 1. Then it's 2. Price is 3. And then you've got this last bit. So you press enter on that. You put 2 in there. You press enter in there. Then you've got this last bit. This thing called range lookup. And basically, if it's ordered in ascending order, it'll try and sort of go down and sweep down to the point that sort of looks the best if it can't quite deliver an exact match. So it is sort of in order, but then when you get to the bottom, it's slightly out of order as people have put additional products on and not sorted it. So I always find, I've never seen the point really, to be honest with you, of not putting false in there. If you put true in there or you put nothing in there, Excel will have a go, but Excel will never really have a go. That's worth having. So put false in there and then press OK. And you see it sort of typed up and up it comes, and then what you will get when you pressed OK is you will have this little equation here. Then you're going to go into this one over here and do the same thing. So hit the insert function, hit the VLOOKUP in the little, if we go back to this one here, this little rows come up here, pick the VLOOKUP function, highlight it, press OK, up we come here. Now, I've done this slightly differently here, and it's always worth thinking about. So here's the B3 here, so I've pressed that and pressed enter there. In this table array, I've done something different to this one here. See how I've done A6 to C51 here? And in this one, I went and just highlighted the 3 columns. What I did was I hit in the actual A column, and then I kept my finger on the trigger on the left mouse, and I just dragged across there whilst highlighting all of those ones, and I highlighted and did the rows. Now I did this because effectively it puts in absolute referencing, and I'll show you what that means later on. But I sort of set up a position there that would save me a little bit of time, just a little bit down the track. So I put that in, and then I decided, right, well, I'm after the price in this instance here. So I'm still on this product code. I still want you to find the product code in here. So that was the same. That I sort of been a little bit more clever and sort of decided I'd go for that. But I want to demonstrate why later on. And then I decided to go for 3 rows across. 1, 2, 3, give me the price. I put a false in again, because I always put false in, and I press OK. And that then has returned me this equation here. And so that is the first part of the exercise 1, so stage 1 of exercise 3. We've now got our prices in there. Now it asks, can we please put in the formulas? And so what you're going to do then is press the Control key and the little graph key, and it will bring the formulas up. And when you do that, the formulas will appear. And I think you do a print screen of that just when you're doing the exams. But now let's move on to stage 2. Let's see if you fancy like having another product in there. So insert 2 rows between row 4 and row 5. So 2 rows into here, and insert. And then in cell A5, enter product 2 question mark. So actually, let's just make a slight, just in the book there a little bit. I think there was supposed to be a little question mark there. And we're going to go product 2 question mark. Okay, so in this thing, we'd quite like to find another question. I'm going to just expand up that just so that it's in there. Right, okay, so that's product 2 there in cell A5. In cell C5, we're going to go bin 2. Okay. And in A3, we're going to go price 2. Price 2. Okay. And we're going to put AB1 here. So that's the product that we're after here. And then we're going to do a lookup here. So you've now got the options to doing this. You can either use the function wizard. Here, so they go into the formulas, the function wizard, bring that function up, type in VLOOKUP, press that, select that, press OK. Up will come that, and put that in. But you now would change that to B5, I think it is. Or, if you're feeling a bit more confident, you can just write it in like I'm going to do now. VLOOKUP, open brackets, that item. So I'm going to do it like this so you can just sort of see almost. Let's imagine that we've got the wizard here, and I'm going to press a comma. That's going to be the first box. And then clicking in that. Oh, let's just go through that on there. I'm now going to just click in that first cell and drag down. That would be the second box being completed. Then comma. Let's do the third box. Well, how many cells do I want to go across for the bin? 2, isn't it? So I put a 2 in there, and for the fourth box, I'd put in false. So I can type that in. So that's what I would get for that one. And if you want to do it in the insert function wizard, or if you want to type it out with me, either way, equals VLOOKUP, and then that product code, which will be the first box in the wizard. I'm going to go like this here. So just so you can demonstrate how I did that, I clicked in the cell, the A column there. See how it's got that shaded, and I've gone across 3 there, and then comma, and then I'm going to go across 3 cells for the third box, and then I'm going to put false, which you might have in the fourth box if you're doing the wizard method. And there we go. There's the price. Okay. Now, why did I do this version rather than this version? Well, let's just save a little bit of time, shall we? And I'm going to go Control C, Control V there. And you see how it doesn't work? And the reason why is because that table changed. Now I could have done this with absolute referencing, so I could have put the little dollar sign in there and the little dollar sign in there, and I could have absolute referenced it and gone Control C and Control V, and that would have saved me a bit of time. But by having the columns in, effectively I've done the absolute referencing already, because it's already doing that A to C column. The only point where you would not really use the absolute referencing for the columns, if you're trying to save a little bit of time, or whether you're doing it in reality, is if you had something there in this column above it, though, where you were putting the product codes in. But if you were really disciplined and you didn't have the product codes in there, the thing that you were looking up, and you put them to the right a touch, which is what we've done here, not really intentionally, I think, in this question, but more of a bit of a fluke, because they could have easily gone product bin price and then put the product there, and I had to look up on that one as a bit of a neater table. Because we didn't have anything sitting in here above it, this would always work as an alternative method by just putting that one in, and that would have saved a whole set of steps and probably a couple of, a minute and a half in the exam. The big advantage, though, in reality of this, if you can be really disciplined and make sure that there's nothing else about in your except your table, is you see how here with this absolute referencing we've had to really sort of think and drag down the table, whereas so I'll give you an example. Let's rewrite this. Equals VLOOKUP, and I've picked that up, and then I've gone and grabbed this table here. I've gone 2 across and I've gone false. Put my little absolute referencing in there. Time-wise, it was just a little bit longer. Right, so if you wanted to time it, equals VLOOKUP, that, comma, 2. It's just quicker to do it that way than the alternative way, and it saves the absolute referencing as well. That was probably where the extra, there's a dragging of this thing here, and there's also the absolute referencing of the dollar signs going in. So that's what we've got in terms of our VLOOKUP. Hope you enjoyed it. We'll probably do HLOOKUPs as well at some point. Well, we will do HLOOKUPs as another item, but this one just gives the VLOOKUP. And what I've done is I've used the insert function wizard. I've used the function wizard because I think a lot of people, when they're writing this, find this method a lot easier. Now, there's a downside to this method here. So this one's nice and easy, and it gives you this lovely little thing here. But now I'm going to put a product code in that doesn't exist. And let's say that this was some form of thing where we have to, sorry, let me put an auto sum in, where we want to know what the, let's put quantities or total price or total value in there, and we'll say that that is equal to that times by that. We'll put that in there. Slide that a little bit up higher, and we'll put a sum in here because you want to know what the total of this, say, this invoice is or something like that. You can see how when we actually have a product code that doesn't exist, Excel has sort of provided this not applicable back, and there's 2 issues about that. One, it looks really ugly, which isn't pleasant, and the second thing is it wrecks any kind of sums that you got. If you've got one of these that are out, it might not work, and you might actually deliberately have some things where you're putting things in to see if you're finding it. There's no value, there's nothing to it there, so you don't necessarily sometimes want these non-applicables to come back. Now, if you write this out like this rather than using the wizard, you'd have to then, what you would do is you would adjust this. So you would go use a logic statement, which would be equals if is now VLOOKUP is equal to true. So the thing is not applicable. If it says true, not applicable, true, don't give me anything back. So, alternatively, give me that VLOOKUP back there. Actually, what I'll do is I'll put that, I'll change that to a 0 because it's not liking a multiplication there. Change that to a 0, and I'll do the same here. If VLOOKUP equals true, give me a 0. Otherwise, give me a VLOOKUP. Now, it hasn't wrecked our summation, which is important. and it doesn't look ugly either. Now, a bit more, not really required for the exam at all, not a problem, but over the long term, what you'll find with lookups is it can tend to wreck a big spreadsheet with lots of equations in, so you have to sort of be able to learn this bit, and you have to ultimately be able to learn how to type it out yourself. To be able to sort of type that bit out, the underlying structures in there, you don't need it for the exam. For the exam base, it's easier, or to learn it, it's easier to have this nice little wizard in here. It's nice as well, you just get used to it. So let me put some insert and a few shapes in here. So that bit is that one. Okay. That one is that one. There. That one is that one there. And that one is that one there. Okay, so that's how they look. So each one of those bits, if you put a little comma, if you put the equals v lookup in the front of it with the open bracket, and then you put a comma in between each of these ones in here, and then close the bracket, you create the same thing if you were just writing it out. So that's how you do it if you want to write it. The big advantage of being able to write it in the fullness of time, you can then start to adjust this equation, producing little things like this, so it clears up those horrible not applicables. It's a shame that I don't know, I can't see anything in there which provides anything that sort of prevents the non-applicables being returned in the wizard, which would have been nice, really. But that's what it is. And I hope you enjoyed that. 22 minutes of exciting VLOOKUPs, and I'll see you in the lesson. Thanks. Bye bye.